Nowhere in the Silent Hill series did the creators name drop as frequently as they did in the first game.
アメリカンモダンホラーの小説に表されているような世界観をゲームで再現するということを目標にしていました。
It intentionally seems like a love letter to all of their favorite authors, musicians, filmmakers, and artists. While I won't cover all of them in this video, I will discuss the origins of many of the street names and some of the people, films, books, and bands referred to in the game. I won't be discussing artistic inspirations in this video. I will save that for another video that spans more than one game. Notably, the Gillespie house is inspired by the Andrew Wyeth painting Christina's World. I will save the rest for another video. Stephen King was a columnist for the University of Maine's student-run newspaper, The Maine Campus. In 1970, he was close to graduating, so he and photographer Frank Caddy went out into the woods with a shotgun looking to make a memorable cover for the paper. The photo appeared with the word "study, damn it," since it was for finals week, and it was designed for students to rip it off and use it as a poster. However, there are many references to King in the series.
もともとサイレントヒルっていうゲームが、さっき言ったように映画から影響を受けたってことで、特にデビッド・リンチだったりスティーブン・キングだったり、それこそジェイコブス・ラダーだったりっていう。
Bachman Street is also a reference because he wrote some books under the pseudonym Richard Bachman. There are posters for Pet Sematary in Old Silent Hill and Carrie posters in Central Silent Hill. Carrie is also relevant because it is about a young girl with supernatural powers. There were apparently even more Stephen King references planned which were cut from the game and can be found in the texture files. There is a picture of Pennywise the Clown from It, a picture of a car referring to Christine, and a shop called Cat's Eye. There was also a shop called Misery. The first game's soundtrack tends to be the noisiest and most industrial-sounding of Yamaoka's soundtracks, so it's no surprise that various references to Genesis, Breyer, P-Orridge, and Throbbing Gristle can be found in the game. The members of Throbbing Gristle were looking for a phrase to give the impression of music made in a factory setting, and came up with the idea of industrial music. Their record label, established in 1976, was called Industrial Records, and also signed other acts. Genesis Breyer P-Orridge, who died of leukemia in March 2020, was an artist, musician, and occultist, as well as a protege of author William S. Burroughs and artist Brian Geisen.
Use materials we found in the street, plastic and old chairs and prams, and try and create landscapes and just be as bizarre and absurd as we could possibly be. It was done on the premise that everybody is capable of making music, whether they realize it or not. Therefore, anything that makes a noise is an instrument, but also anybody who can make it make a noise is a musician.
She later formed the organization, the Temple of Psychic Youth, and the group Psychic TV after the breakup of Throbbing Gristle. Boxes in Alchemilla Hospital's basement, in the room where you have to burn the vines with alcohol, can be seen that read Psychic TV on them. If you examine the sign on the bridge control room, you learn that it is named after P-Orridge. According to memos and articles, the drug being trafficked in Silent Hill is also called PTV. The street names in Silent Hill famously refer to mostly horror authors. Jack Finney wrote the novel The Body Snatchers, which was made into the film Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Richard Matheson wrote I Am Legend and Hell House, and the film version was called Legend of Hell House. He also wrote 16 episodes of The Twilight Zone. Robert Bloch is best known as the author of Psycho. Ira Levin was the author of Rosemary's Baby. I've already mentioned Richard Bachman, Stephen King's pseudonym. James Ellroy is not a horror writer, but a writer of hard-boiled crime fiction stories. He seems a bit obsessed with the Black Dahlia, and is probably best known for writing L.A. Confidential. He has an easily identifiable prose style, and also had a TV show on Investigation Discovery called L.A. City of Demons. In Central Silent Hill, Sagan Street refers to science communicator and author Carl Sagan, who hosted the original version of the show Cosmos, which was recently remade with host Neil deGrasse Tyson. He also wrote science fiction novel Contact and nonfiction book The Pale Blue Dot, among many others. Michael Crichton wrote Jurassic Park, the Andromeda Strain, Coma, and Sphere, among other things. Ray Bradbury was a prolific writer of science fiction, known for his dystopian novel Fahrenheit 451. He also wrote a large number of short stories. Dan Simmons is a writer of horror and historical fiction. His works include Song of Kali and Hyperion. Dean Koontz is a prolific suspense thriller author whose work includes the book Phantoms. Colin Wilson was known for what he termed existential criticism, which said that a work of art should not just be judged by the principles of literary criticism or theory alone, but also by what it has to say. John Sandford is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist whose works include Sudden Prey and the Prey series. Lillian Craig Reed wrote psychological thrillers under the pen name Kit Craig, and was formerly a newspaper reporter. While not a street name, Mark Twain is also referenced as a bookstore, as well as Ernest Hemingway, in the form of a cafe named Immovable Feast. The title itself refers to Paris, France, and this was also referenced as a memento in Silent Hill: Shattered Memories. There are also references to the band Sonic Youth. The teachers in the elementary school are named after Thurston Moore, Lee Ronaldo, and Kim Gordon. A Kim Gordon key is found in the boiler room, which is then used to enter Kay Gordon's house to access the other streets in Old Silent Hill. The house has a painting of an owl on the wall, possibly a reference to David Lynch's series Twin Peaks.
The owls are not what they seem.
Medieval Madness is a real pinball machine. There are Portishead posters in the cafe. Akira Yamaoka has cited Portishead as an influence on his work. Cafe 5-2 is the name of the cafe in Natural Born Killers. The sign with the name can be seen in the opening credits. Bill Skins Fifth is a reference to the character Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. His character is skinning overweight women, and newspaper headlines referring to this are seen in the movie. There is a Coca-Cola bumper sticker outside the cafe, but the developers don't seem to be showing favoritism, since there is also a Pepsi ad on a bench near the elementary school. There are also ads for Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, and Miller Beer. The Metropulse Theater, next to Cafe 5-2, is the location where Dario Argento's movie Demons takes place. The tickets that the characters are given in the movie are also visible on the wall of the theater. Blue Bell is a reference to Andrew Vachss' novel of the same name. There's also a Vachss Street in Silent Hill 2. The convenience store in Old Silent Hill is modeled after a 7-Eleven convenience store. There is also a Burger Queen nearby, referring to Burger King, and a Shell Station, which is missing the S, so that it reads Hell. Cut-Right Chainsaws was taken from the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. The keys for the Eclipse refer to the Wizard of Oz, and the plates in the hospital have characters from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. There is a burger joint called Konami Burger, Boston Market, which parodies Boston Market, and Mech Burger, resembling some McDonald's locations with large golden arches. Norman's Motel refers to Norman Bates and the Bates Motel in the film Psycho. A poster inside resembles a famous poster of Farrah Fawcett in a swimsuit. The jelly beans resemble those made by Jelly Belly, and the Paris Exposition poster is a real thing. Mushnick's Florists is from Little Shop of Horrors, and if you zoom in on the sign in the window, it tells you to check out their new plant, Audrey Jr. This is not a complete list, but check out Gyromancy's site for comparisons of things like the stores and the town center, some of which are also based on real places. Due to the large number of references in the series, this is going to be more than one video. I focused on the first game in the previous video, but this will focus on the games 2 through 4 mostly, though I'll probably forget things and have to go back and forth a bit, since I'm trying to pack in as many references as I can, especially since some of the films are more obscure. Jan Svankmeyer's version of Alice in Wonderland has a lot of creepy and bizarre stop-motion animation. Alice also finds keys in odd places, like a sardine tin. Another can resembles the can of light bulbs that James finds in the kitchen, and jars of light bulbs can be seen. Translated Memories cites this scene as the inspiration for the canned light bulbs. Hiroyuki Iwaku has stated that the last scene of Betty Blue, a controversial French film, influenced Silent Hill 2 more than a little.
So peaceful. You know what I heard? This whole area used to be a sacred place. I think I can see why. It's too bad we have to leave. Please promise you'll take me again, James.
The Exorcist 3 also influenced some of the imagery and direction of the series. Notably, there is a blonde nurse wearing clothes very similar to Lisa's. The only real difference are the shoes. Lisa wears red heels. This nurse wears more practical footwear, white sneakers. In a hospital room, "It's a Wonderful Life" is written on the wall in blood, which becomes "What a Wonderful World" with the same misspelling in Silent Hill 3. I've ripped the texture here, so you can see it better. There's also an angel with tarot cards. The ship core in Event Horizon was the inspiration for the circular object at the end of Silent Hill 4. In the film, people on the ship hallucinate things based on past trauma, fears, or regrets, and often people of their past.
Anyway.
According to Shingo Yuri, Vincent was partially based on Brad Pitt's character in 12 Monkeys.
And I want to find my happiness while I'm still here. You hated your father, didn't you?
The original version of Jacob's Ladder was a large influence on the visuals and themes in the Silent Hill series. This video refers to the 1990 film. I haven't seen the 2019 remake, but a quick glance at the IMDb ratings confirmed my suspicions that it probably compares unfavorably. One could say that the subway station in the film is to the Silent Hill 3 subway what the Astoria School in Kindergarten Cop was to Midwich Elementary in the first game. Of course, Kindergarten Cop really only visually influenced Midwich. It was a popular comedy film, and the developers were probably just looking for some American school references. With Jacob's Ladder, on the other hand, the references and similarities run much deeper. Knowing that I was going to make this video, I intentionally left out the one reference to the movie in the first game in my last video. A poster about drug use being hell is in the game files, which you can access using programs like PS Icture. It doesn't actually appear in the game, but it shows the film was on the developers' minds. The poster appears in a subway car in the film. The Bergen Street subway stop appears in Silent Hill 3, as well as a scene where Heather has to jump down on the tracks. Another possible influence is the way Jacob is seen staring at photos of a dead loved one. like James carries around the photo of Mary. However, it's Jacob's son, Gabe, played by Macaulay Culkin, who has died in the film. At one point, he's upset that he lost his wallet, containing his only photo of him. Jacob's wife Sarah isn't dead, but they aren't together anymore. His new girlfriend is named Jezebel, and the two are like night and day. Their names aren't similar, but their personalities have some things in common with Mary and Maria. Jezebel is sexier and more fun than Sarah seems. There are also doctors without faces, and a hospital patient in a sort of cage. This is also similar to the work of Joel Peter Witkin, but I will do a separate video about art. The stage in Heaven's Night in Silent Hill 2 is taken from the stage that Isabella Rossellini's character performs on in Blue Velvet. There are other references here too, as well. James hiding in the closet resembles a scene where Kyle MacLachlan's character hides in a closet while Dennis Hopper terrorizes Isabella Rossellini. Frank even wears a mask briefly. Deep River Apartments became Blue Creek Apartments.
Put your hands up! On your head! Do it! Get on your knees! Do it!
Mary and Laura's clothing is based on that of characters in the film Con Air. Maria's outfit was based on the outfit Christina Aguilera wore to the 1999 Teen Choice Awards. Christina Aguilera's middle name is Maria.
The energy was incredible.
I should also mention that in addition to the Silent Hill Chronicle site that has translations of the Lost Memories book, I am also greatly indebted to Gyromancy's forum posts and his website, and F's legendary lists of references, which have been a great help in the making of these videos. And while I'm mentioning Gyromancy, I should also mention his Silent Hill 1 level viewer, which I used to get clearer video of the theater in central Silent Hill. This is something I left out of the first video, mainly because I lacked good images of it. Crusher Dan is based on Die Hard 2, Die Harder, with Bruce Willis on the poster. Shoot shows a picture of Harrison Ford from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Lost Memories states that The Cell, starring Jennifer Lopez, depicts the mind of a macabre killer with beautiful and vivid visuals. The director, Tarsem Singh, started off with music videos, which does not seem surprising after seeing this. It didn't get great reviews, but parts of it do look cool, and are reminiscent of places like the apartment world in Silent Hill 4. David Lynch's first feature film, Eraserhead, portrays the nightmarish world of a character played by the late Jack Nance, who also appeared in Twin Peaks years later, but without the big hair. While the weirdness of the entire thing clearly could have been an influence, I'd consider this just a general influence by the atmosphere of Lynch's films and TV, notably Twin Peaks, and less of an influence by Eraserhead specifically. However, the baby did appear directly as the Sync fetus in PT. Twin Peaks features a Black Lodge, which is a sort of otherworld, where characters speak in reverse and strange things happen. Lost Highway features a videotape, which, when viewed, causes the main character to experience weird things.
Are you taping again?
Stanley Kubrick is named as an influence as well. Red Rum, written on a wall in the first game, refers to The Shining, and another easily overlooked reference is to the Overlook Hotel, which is a real hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, called the Stanley. This became the Lakeview Hotel in the second game. This is the hotel in which Kubrick's version of The Shining takes place. It may also be notable that Jack Nicholson's character is a writer, like Harry. The opening scene of Lolita influenced the opening cutscene of Silent Hill 1 with Harry and Cheryl in the car. This is based on the Kubrick version, apparently, though it's interesting to note that Adrian Lyne, director of Jacob's Ladder, made another version in 1997. A Clockwork Orange is also cited in Lost Memories, though I suppose it's a less direct influence. It's a fantastic movie, though, and worth watching for anyone who has not already done so. Excellently scored by Wendy Carlos, an early pioneer in the use of electronic instruments. Alexandro Jodorowsky, a Chilean director, is considered the father of the cult film, and his movies are bizarre in the extreme. The Holy Mountain is probably the hardest one to follow, as the plot sort of meanders all over the place, focusing more on strange visuals much of the time. It may not be the best Jodorowsky film to start off with, though it leaves a strong impression, as Iwaku has stated. Some scenes are reminiscent of things like the lighthouse in the first game, with the seal of Metatron. The people who represent different planets have scenes that very much resemble the ending areas of Silent Hill 4, both the red-tinted room with people in the walls, and then the final boss area. With his black coat and gun, Walter sort of resembles a character played by Jodorowsky. El Topo is an odd sort of western taking place in the desert. Santa Sangre revolves around some people who work for a circus. The main character's mother was a direct influence on Claudia in Silent Hill 3. She is a priestess in a strange cult. Their church has several paintings featuring their female goddess on the walls, which may remind one of the paintings in Silent Hill 3's chapel. The young girl who descends into the pool of blood wearing white robes also resembles the end scene of the first game. One of the early concept arts of Claudia featured her nude and covered in tattoos, and I also wonder if the tattooed lady in this film may have influenced that unused concept. The slug-like parasite that comes off of Sybil when you use the Aglophidus on her resembles the things in Night of the Creeps.
Sybil! Wake up! Snap out of it! Sybil!
Harry? What happened?
Shh!
A character in The Legend of Hell House resembles Alessa. Kazanian jewelry in the Silent Hill Town Center is a reference to Dario Argento's film Inferno. The D'Argento Cemetery in Silent Hill Homecoming also refers to him.
Rosemary? Are you okay?
Chris Cunningham's music videos were also cited as an influence. He's worked with Aphex Twin a lot, as well as Portishead, Autechre, Bjork, and Madonna, among others. He has also done some short films, some also scored by Aphex Twin, including Rubber Johnny and Flex. The latter was commissioned for the Apocalypse Beauty and Horror and Contemporary Art exhibition for the Royal Academy of Arts in 2000. He's also done commercials for brands and companies including Gucci, Sony PlayStation, Levi's, Orange, and Nissan.